my mantra should be like, done is better than perfect. Because otherwise I'm not taking any action. And I think imperfect action is better than no action.
100%. So something very interesting here, and again, I'm so happy we had this conversation because I think there's so much here to talk about in that, I think you know all these mantras. These are not things you don't know, right? You have studied them, you've heard them your whole life, I'm certain. And so it's not that you don't know that you need to do it, but the question is why, right? So we're here to solve that. I'm going to help you with this because I think that's the most important part. Everyone talks about just do it.
Yes.
What the heck is just do it? How do I just do it, right?
How?
Right. So let's talk about that a bit. Maria, it's so amazing to talk to you. I have so much amazing experiences having like deep, meaningful conversations with you. And thank you so much for coming on for the Level Up podcast. For those who aren't familiar or aware yet, the Level Up podcast is basically our way to really have a detailed deep dive into helping someone, right, understand where they are in their life, where they want to go, and how to get there in the most effective way. And I think why we're deciding to have these conversations out in the open, and thank you so much, Maria, for sharing your story with us too, is because we hope that people who resonate with the stories that we're sharing, with the experiences that we have, will be able to get some value out of this, because not all of us will be able to find the right, information, the right resources at the right time. And even if we do, we might not get the right support to help us take us from zero to hero, right? So the idea here is that, we're going to have a very deep, meaningful conversation. I already know it. But the main thing is I want to show, how life has an answer, right? There are answers out there. There are ways to, move yourself to the next stage, to level up, and hopefully I can be there to support you on the way. So I think with that all in mind, Maria, I would love for you to kind of, say hi, tell us a bit about yourself, tell us about, more specifically also, like where you're at in life. What would you call this phase of your life,
Thank you, Conrad, and I love everything you said. Thank you for creating this space for that. I think it's very important and amazing. Okay, so who am I? I guess that's still a challenge, as in like even responding to that question. Sometimes you don't know, you're figuring it out as you go.
Yeah.
But what I can share of my understanding of who I am is, actually someone asked me this question some years ago, and my answer was like, I'm a warrior.
Oh, wow.
And then, so okay, just let's keep it basic. I'm from Mexico.
Okay.
I was born and raised there. I studied law there. Then I wanted something else. So I just took the crazy decision to move to Paris to study French and hopefully be accepted in a university there to study international law. And then from there things started to open. So I think that was my key step in bringing tangible change, which was that like I wanted to be different from my classmates at the time, and I was the only one that left to study abroad after law school. And then from there I lived and worked in different countries, Europe, Asia. Now I'm going to move to Middle East soon, to Dubai, so a new chapter is entering with new set of challenges, but it's exciting. And so where I am right now, I got married recently. So I had 3 weddings.
Beautiful weddings.
Oh, yeah, we're very happy to have Conrad there. And so I'm in a chapter of my life where I feel like I'm adulting. Like it's happening. I've been telling this to my friends, like I think I'm adulting officially.
Wow.
So yeah, I got married recently. I'm also starting to prepare emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually to hopefully become a mother. So I think that's going to be the biggest life change ever.
Yeah.
More than marriage, more than everything. And so where I am right now is that I'm working, so I do have that financial stability right now, maybe too comfortable. So I'm an employee, and I'm a wife. I'm also just like a girl / woman. I feel identify with that. Soon to be a mother, hopefully. And that's where I am right now. And currently, my challenge would be, how can I excel at all these roles, being good at my work while not neglecting my husband, while not neglecting myself, my me time, while also being a great present mother.
Wow.
And on top of that, I would like to be less comfortable. As I said, I think I'm too comfortable, and as an employee, I mean, I feel very blessed to have a job that helps me to pay for everything I need and more. But I feel that my wish, and I haven't got there yet, I hope I can get there sooner than later, is that I'm able to do something more creative that expresses who I am, what I believe in, and that brings value to others. I have tried some stuff, but I get stuck. I'm very good at starting, but not at continuing.
Interesting.
And that makes me very frustrated. So, I'm a bit nervous about not being able to fulfill that.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing that, Maria. And I think it's really nice to see how insightful you are into yourself. I think we all struggle with all these different roles that we think we need to play in life, right? And we think because, of the expectation society places on us, of the kind of roles that we call ourselves, right? And I think it's really important for us in this moment too to kind of really map out, I guess, the environment in which you're playing in, which I think is very interesting as a way to think about it. So you mentioned that, the role of a wife, right? That's something new that you're navigating, right? You got married just around a year, 2 years ago. So it's something that's a work in progress, certainly. There's the role of the employee, right? You have to, obviously the standard definition is you have to do right by the company, you have to, help them make profits, etc. Your role as a mother, right, which is to make sure your kids grow up healthily and happily, ideally, right? And as you said, it's very hard for someone to have all the time in the world to do all these different things. So I think we should tackle this maybe in two ways, and I'm very curious on the first thing, which is you mentioned that you are very good at starting, right? What does that mean? Like, what does good at starting mean?
It means that I'm a very quick decision maker. Like when I get excited about something, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I invest money on, I don't know, I will give you an example right now of what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got very excited I've been designing mugs, as gifts.
Interesting, wow.
And I love my designs, and I started to give them as gifts for people I care about, like birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, all that. And I realized that they were loving it because I personalized them to what I know they like, and they were very surprised.
Wow.
And then I started to get some requests of oh, what did you give to me? I want to give that to my friend. And I sold maybe 15 mugs. Wow. Without even website, nothing.
That's beautiful.
And I was like, wow, this is so exciting. I have discussed with you in the past that my mother's love language is gifts. So I'm very excited typically when I give gifts to others. This is something very personal to me. So many things came together that I like giving gifts, designing. I love to design. I'm a lawyer, but I just have so much fun in Canva. I have Canva Pro and do it for fun. Yes. Every opportunity I have, I design.
Wow, I love that. That's beautiful.
So I know this excites me. So I found how I could put together designing gifts, and just I was just enjoying it. So I'm like, okay, might as well. I create a website. I start to put designs there that can be personalized and with the names and all that for people that maybe other people else want to give gifts to others. And then I got the domain, I registered the company in Singapore.
Oh wow, you started a company too. That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
And I did this in less than 24 hours, very quickly. And being an employee and a wife at the same time and all that.
Yes.
I hired someone in Upwork to help me with the website in Shopify.
Wow.
And then that's it. I didn't continue. I'm stuck.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's an example of, for me, that's what it means to be very good at starting things. I have other examples like that. But then I get stuck in like, the momentum gets lost.
Okay.
And I'm like, maybe it was not a good idea, or maybe it's not gonna work, or might as well not do, or maybe I just make excuses to not continue. I'm very busy. I don't make the time, and yeah, so that's what it means.
I understand. Wow. And I think a lot of us can resonate with that, certainly. What does feeling stuck feel like for you? Let's imagine it as a feeling, right? Maybe first we can describe where it comes from. Like, is it from your heart? Is it from the mind? And then maybe let's talk about what is it
I feel it in
like?
my stomach.
Okay.
It feels like it just feels like a stiffness in the stomach for me when I feel stuck. And I also feel a lot of avoidance. Like, I don't want to go deep into it because I don't want to be too hard on myself. And I just try to not to deal with it and just put it under the rug.
What do you think is usually the turning point? Like, when do you move from, I'm really excited about this, I want to do everything it takes, to like, maybe no?
So as I said, I'm in the avoidance phase. I haven't asked myself this question, but
Sure.
I'm glad you asked. So I don't know. Let me think what happens there. I think that the hard work is what happens, meaning like I gave it to the developer for the Shopify thing, and then when the developer delivers it, and it's my turn to put the hours, because I just wanted to have like the main things, like placeholders of stuff, but then when it came to me to put my designs and to make it work and all that, I think I just kind of I'm waiting for the perfect moment for me to sit, to do, or but the perfect moment doesn't come because I'm very busy. So that's I think that's what happens, and but at the same time it's self-sabotage, because I know that if you ask me what would be your ideal professional life, for me it wouldn't be to be an employee. I am an employee and I'm happy being, but for the time being.
Sure,
I think I'm biding my time. I know why I'm doing this, but my ideal would be I'm 30 right now, but maybe my maximum 40, maximum, to be an owner, that I own the engine, like I'm working for my like long-term company, and that I'm doing something that I believe in, that it's fun, it's creative, that other people find value on it. And I really love like working with people, so that I'm hiring directly and making people grow in my company, that we're doing cool stuff, and that I'm the owner of my time. Eventually being successful enough to have a foundation and to also have some charity, that I could work around the world with, like I'm not, because right now being an employee you cannot do that, like I need to go to office.
Yeah, it's not flexible, right?
It's not flexible,
Yeah.
and my family's in Mexico and all that, so I would like to be able to travel and work from there, because I like to see the world. I've been in many countries as of right now, so I would like to continue with that. But then I'm like, how am I going to make this happen? And I know I can, because I have done stuff in the past, and I don't believe in impossibles, but for some reason I do get stuck at some point. And sometimes I wonder, maybe I'm not made for that. Maybe, like the imposter syndrome voice?
Sure, yeah. I think it's very natural to feel these things, and what I'm hearing is that you have this really amazing period of like, wow, I'm super excited about this. This is like, there's some validation from the market as well, right? And you're excited by doing the thing. You would have done it even if you weren't paid for it, right? You go on Canva, you design, no one's paying you, but you want to do it. That's how you're spending your time. And then you like it so much that you end up doing it for others, which is very beautiful, by the way. And then they appreciate it, which then motivates you even more. And then you start to imagine, well, what if, right? What if it becomes something bigger? What if it becomes my, profession, right? Instead of just as an employee, as you mentioned. So what I want to do here is let's kind of analyze that for a moment, because I think it's very important to kind of understand what's going right there, to understand like how we can apply that across all the different things you could be doing. Let me explain what I mean. So before, when you were working on the designs, were you busy?
I had a why, and when I was doing the design, it's because there was someone's birthday, Christmas, so I needed to get it done before the date came. So I was busy, but if I didn't do it, then it wouldn't happen, because the time was passing.
Yeah.
But since right now I don't have any deadline,
I see.
I think that's why.
That's very interesting. I like that analysis. So what do you think would happen if, let's say, the website was like a pre-order form, and they said that, hey, I have a birthday coming up, it's in 2 months, I need it by then. What do you think would happen if you had an order come in like that?
In 2 months?
Like, let's say they came in with like a delivery date, right? It's like, hey, I want to buy something, this is when I need it by. What would happen?
Well, then I would. I'm not sure I understand.
Like, would you be stuck? Like, let's say I told you right now, hey, Maria, I love your mugs, right?
Yeah.
I want one for Chinese New Year. It's in 1 month, right?
Oh, I would even do it today.
Okay, you would do it today because someone's telling you that they need it and they would appreciate it.
Yes, and because I also want you to love it, therefore I wouldn't wait until the last minute. I would present you with some design, you can give me feedback, and
that's great.
And I would be very excited. So I would definitely do it today.
Okay.
Because I love to do it. It's just that I need some external motivation.
Okay, that's really important. I think that's interesting. And actually, there's something interesting here too, is that a lot of things that we think are external motivators are actually internal. Let me explain that for a second, because I think that's very interesting as a topic. Because it changed my whole mind when I learned about this, that maybe the things aren't really as external as they seem. So you're saying that if someone comes to you and say, hey, Maria, I like what you've done and I want something, your immediate response is, wow, let me get started on it immediately. I'm so excited about it. How do I help this person? Because you love to help. I see that in you every time we meet. And so what happens is you get started immediately, right? You start working with them on the design and you try to make it perfect for them. That's a very bespoke process. I love it, right? Because it's very, you hold their hand the whole time, you give them the support they need, you give them the assurance that it's going to be something that they love. And I'm sure that does wonders for, the results. So I don't actually see that as an extrinsic motivator. I see it as an intrinsic motivator. Because the intrinsic motivator is that you want to be as helpful as you can. You want to make someone happy, right? So the only thing you're missing is, who do I make happy? And I think something very interesting, and of course I would love to hear more examples. You said in the past you've had many different examples of starting and then perhaps stopping. I'm curious if what we'll discover is that the pattern is, as you started scaling up, right, you stopped getting that direct feedback from a potential customer to say, hey, I really want this, and this is how we can work together. And then you can jump in and say, this is how we can work together to get there. Can we talk about another example as well? Maybe we can get a little more clarity on this.
I think this is the first time that I do it as properly. In the past, the examples I have are not necessarily businesses, but there are other stuff like I got very excited about learning how to play electric guitar.
Okay.
So I bought it, I hired a teacher, but then after a couple of classes, I just lost motivation. I was just like, I think I don't want to do the hard work, because I feel that what is the point? I think that I feel intimidated, that I feel that I don't have what it takes. Like, for example, for the guitar, it's like I'm anyway not going to start a band, or I'm anyway not going to be very good at it. Or for the mugs, it's like I see all these beautiful websites on the internet and I'm like, mine doesn't look as nice. Or I don't know, it's hard for me, to be honest, to think of the reasons, or I don't know, maybe this is a deeper psychological thing. I also started postgraduate 2-3 years ago, and then I did 2 semesters on it was like international politics. But then I'm like, no, actually I don't want this. And they didn't even give me the money back, and it was a lot of money. So I think that I'm just trying to look for what really will speak to me. And then I'm like, because if it's not this, then I might as well not invest on that. But I think that with this design Mox gift thing, I was really, and I'm still convinced. But I think my challenge is that I also don't know where to start. Like, for example, I have the website there, but then I don't know exactly what I want to put there. It's like, okay, I have these ideas, but I'm afraid of, I think that less is more, so I'm afraid of putting too much stuff. And then I would need to figure out things like how to make them personalized, customizable, and I
just gets in your head a bit, right? Like
yeah, and I'm like, maybe I'll
details.
just stay with my check, my monthly check. But then I'm like, oh no, never mind, I do want. So it's hard for me. I cannot really say why this happens or give. Yeah.
No, I totally get that, and I think so this is very important, and I'm really happy you shared this with me because I really think we'll discover something today. And so maybe my first question I'm going to ask instead is, do you really think you're not hardworking, and why?
Oh no, I'm very hardworking.
Yeah, so you are. So why did we say that you weren't hardworking earlier? What motivated you to say that?
It's a very good question. I don't know. Like, on the one hand, I know and I've heard external feedback, and I also know that I can really work hard. But it's because I know my why. I know what is my goal. But then here, for other things, it's not that I don't want to work hard. It's that I think I need some maybe guidance. Like, I'm not a tech person.
Sure.
So that I think that's why, I can work hard for the stuff I know what to do. That I know how to handle it and what I need to do and all that. But this is a new thing, working in websites and selling stuff, and it's just new. So it's a bit intimidating, and it's not that I don't wanna. It's just that in order to work hard, I would need to first work hard to learn. So it's like double work hard.
Sure.
And yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm lazy. No, I'm not lazy. Then I don't know.
Okay. Did you have to learn Canva when you first touched it?
I had, but I enjoyed the process of figuring it out. And I would Google stuff, and I would just learn learn on the way. But it happened organically because I was enjoying it.
Yeah, so you are capable, right?
Yes.
If you figure out something you have to do, right, to get to the passion that you want, which is you love designing, Canva's a tool, you need to get there. So it seems like you are willing to put in the effort to research, Google everything you need to know to have the result that you want, right? So I think it's really important that you actually have analyzed that you need a why. And I love that. I actually really love that because it means that your internal self is already trying to tell you, and I think very loudly is trying to speak to you that, hey, Maria, find your why, and I'll do anything you want for you.
Yeah.
That's what I see, right? Do you think if you have a why, you'll find a way to get there? You'll crawl if you have to, but you'll figure it out.
Yes.
Okay, so let's find that, right? Let's talk a bit about that. So the why, why are you motivated to create a mug, let's say? What motivates you there?
Motivates me to express my creativity. Okay. I think there's this book that changed everything for me. It's called The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Wow. And
that helped me reconnect with my creativity. And I'm like, yes, I want to create that. And so one, because it helps me to express my creativity. And second, because I want to either show a person that I care about them or a third person to help them to show another person that they're, if I don't know how to say it. Like,
I think I understand.
yeah, like to help, to facilitate someone else to express that they care about someone else.
Yes.
And because I have seen it, I have a colleague that she asked me for 10 personalized mugs for her Christmas gathering.
Wow.
And she gave it to her friends that I've never met, but they loved them. They loved them.
Amazing.
And I was so happy that with my own hands I did that, and and it was just beautiful to see the creativity there. So like my creativity plus someone now having their coffee from that mug. Yeah. She asked like they wanted they're very pet people.
Yeah.
So it had like a collage of the pets.
Wow.
With names, and it was just it was very beautiful.
Of course. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So breaking that down, it seems like, one is being able to express your own creativity is a really big motivator, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is seeing the happiness of someone else and helping them make someone else happy as well.
Yes, that speaks to me a lot. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So I can totally see how, making those mugs makes you feel that way, and I love it. And so let's ask the question, what about the website building process, doesn't make you feel that way, or how can we make the website building process make you feel that way as well? Is it a creative endeavor as well?
It is. So in this case, I was thinking, okay, what is the low-hanging fruit? Because I didn't want to get stuck. So what I did is like, I tried first on my own, and I'm like, okay, this is not as easy as I thought. Therefore, this shouldn't be an obstacle because I really want to make this happen. So I instead chose to delegate it to someone else that would just follow my instructions. I happily would pay for it, and that's it. And I thought like, okay, now that the person put everything there, I can now just change it a little bit.
Yourself.
So it can, so I think I'm at the point where it could be enjoyable. It's just that I haven't had the assiduity to literally like sit and let me do this. I think also since I'm in the process of relocating to Dubai, I've been just like not making the time. I'm thinking like, I'm busy and all that. But that might be just a comfortable lie because I could make the time. So.
Well, I think it's very natural to feel this way. I always want to make sure you know that you're not alone. I think myself, I felt this a lot, and I'm sure many people watching.
That's hard to believe because I see you flowing so much, and even earlier I think we were talking about the camera, the battery. You were telling me, like I'm still figuring it out, like how to fix this and that. And I told you that's amazing because I feel that done is better than perfect, and you'll figure it out along the way, and this is not stopping you from making this happen. So I think that. I want to learn that because when you're saying all of us go through that, I'm like, I believe you, but it doesn't seem like that because you're doing stuff that I admire, and as I was telling you earlier, like courage is contagious, and that gives me courage and inspiration to do. But it's hard to believe when you tell me like I've gone through that because I don't see you stuck. So sometimes I do feel that I'm the only one stuck.
I understand. Okay. I totally understand that. No. I believe I totally understand where it's coming from, and I think I know, what to ask now to help. So, how this? What do you think I might get stuck by? Let's imagine that, for example. Yeah. Okay.
So what I would feel you get stuck. I would feel that you delegate, which is like, for example, the editing videos. I don't know. You said, what do you imagine?
Just imagine first. Let's have this practice. I think it's
so I would imagine that doing the actual, like, being the editor of the videos and podcast and all that, it's a particular skill set. So I would say maybe you get stuck in that, but you don't let that stop you, and you find a solution, which could be you just delegate it to an expert. So that's an example.
Interesting. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And why do you think I don't get stuck? Let's imagine I don't get stuck. That's not reality, by the way. But let's imagine that. So why do you think I don't get stuck?
I imagine you don't get stuck because you are resourceful, because you want to do things, and you don't make excuses. You want to get the job done, basically. You think that you are made to succeed. That you got this, and this is just an obstacle in the way, but it's not a hard wall.
Okay. So I love that you shared this with me, and I really appreciate you being so open with this. Is because I think as you describe the things that you might imagine someone else gets stuck by, it's actually yourself reflecting on what your experiences are, right? And I think that's very good, because then that's how we can fine tune and try to understand, okay, so if this is the barrier, what could possibly overcome it, right? And so I identified a few things as you were sharing, and I'm just going to repeat it back to make sure I remember properly, right? So I think one thing is that, having a strong conviction to do the thing, right, to get it done, I think is one thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
Another thing you mentioned is I think a delegation, right? If you can't delegate it, are you resourceful enough to find someone to finish a job, right? And then the third thing I think I heard you say was, not seeing small things as a big wall, okay? Right. So those are three things that we talked about. So I'm going to talk about me in a second, but what I want to do first is kind of identify that for yourself and maybe try to challenge some of those things, because I think it's very interesting to think about. I think those are all real worries, 100%. And I think that's reality for many of us, even myself, right? There are going to be times when, our desire to do something, may not be as strong as we think about it. But the thing is, that's actually not true, right? Well, there's many things we want in life. There's so many things that we want our lives to be better in. But some people say they want to get more fit. Some people say that they want to be stronger. Some say they want to be smarter, right? And obviously, many people can say, well, just study, right? Just work out, just do these things. But we still don't do it. How come, right? So sometimes it's not just about having a strong why to get you to do the thing, because we know many people who desperately want something that still don't do it. And a lot of times people say, oh, you must be lazy, or you must not want it enough. I don't think that's true. I think that's a very shallow way of seeing it, because ultimately we all want things. So it might not be that answer. The second one is that, okay, if we can't do something, do we delegate it? I don't think my perspective is delegation, personally. I think ultimately, even if you delegate it, as I'm sure you found, is that you still need to finish the job.
Yeah, true, that's true.
So no matter how much you delegate, you'll still need to touch base with it. And it's not like you do something, you do your part, it's over. I think that's what we learn in when we be an employee, right? When we're working for someone else, that yes, we can't just do part of the job, someone else will finish the job per se. But I think one thing we learn in creative endeavors, right? And by the way, I'm so happy you're joining a creative endeavor. I think it's beautiful, because when you talk about it, your eyes light up, right? It's something you truly love. And I love that spark. I love that passion. And I want to see that continue to grow and bloom. So when we talk about a creative pursuit, what I found is that our mental models need to shift almost completely the other way, where it's like, okay, I am going to be the start and the finish of this. But what we need to understand about it is we can actually change what the start and what the end is. Let me give you an example. Let me use an example for your mug business, right? Let's not even call it a business. Your mug gifts, right? Your gifts to the world through mugs.
Yeah,
right?
nice.
So let's not make it bigger, because the moment we start projecting what it should be is when we start holding ourselves back. And actually, that's something I heard from you a little bit earlier when you started talking about, electric guitar, right? I think everyone playing electric guitar at home and doing their own thing is already beautiful in itself. You don't need to compare yourself with the rock star that's playing in front of a 10,000 audience. In the same way, when we start talking about a mug gift, does it have to be a mug gift that sells 1 million units a day, right? Does it have to have a big fancy website? Is it just a Google form that people can fill out, right? Right?
Yeah, I see.
There's many different ways to see, because as a creative, you have control over the start and the end. And that's the beautiful thing that I think is the aha moment for a lot of creatives, because you are someone that what you love. You love the interaction with the customer. You love the designing process with them.
Yeah.
You love getting them to tell you that, hey, I want this again, right? Those are all things that you can accomplish many, many different ways, right? It may not be the website, but I know a lot of times when we think about something, we start thinking about scaling it to whatever the highest degree of something could be. If I'm running an e-commerce store, I better make 1 million sales a day, or whatever we think in our minds what an e-commerce store should be. If I want to play piano, I must be, whatever amazing piano player, or a rock star if it's guitar, right? So we tend to get in our minds on what the beginning and end of a process should be. And what I will always urge is do what makes sense to you. Do what you can, right? And focus on what is going to give you the most creative juice out of it. Because that's how you're going to get from 0 to 1. That's how you get started. We're not talking about 1 to infinity. The scaling part of whatever your creative work can be discussed later. But right now, what we're trying to solve for you, what we're trying to tackle is, how do we get your beautiful mugs to the world, right? How do we get it to the next person that wants it without them having a direct number to you, right?
Yes.
Exactly. And we'll talk about the actual solution there, but I'm just hoping to tackle each barrier bit by bit so that you can start getting ideas about how we can think about it just a little bit differently.
You know, already it feels less heavy. I like how you are helping me to remove beliefs, and at the same time, you know, like, I really feel what you're saying about, you know, it's okay, like, it's normal for you to start something and immediately wanting to label it or scaling it. Like, you're not broken. That's a normal reaction that we all have. However, you know, you have this alternative that might be less intimidating, and that at the end it might speak to you more of, like, as you said, let's not even call it like a business. Let's call it in a way that it's softer. And you know, I didn't consider that, because I immediately was like, oh yeah, like boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
But like, actually, that's not even my original. That's not how it started.
Exactly, right? It started from love for your friends and love to help them make others happy, right? And how do we focus on that? How do we not lose that? I think is going to be the focus, I think. And I love that you shared this too, and it gives me an opportunity to share a bit of, you know, my perspective. And I will move to the last one too, because I want to share that with you, the last point you made. But so when I started my YouTube channel, right, I did it actually with thoroughly. The only reason was I found something cool, right, that I have gamified my life. It's helping me in very different ways. How do I share that with others? It was recorded with a little crappy webcam from my, you know, laptop computer. I had no mic. Well, I had like a small lapel mic that I, you know, kind of cannibalized from another project. But like, I had no experience being on YouTube. I knew nothing. I had no expectations, right? I went in just wanting to record a video and publish it. What happened after that was, because I initially had gotten some traction on it, right? I think in the first day I had like 10,000 views. I was very lucky. I just want to be very clear. I was very lucky. So when I had that kind of reaction from the audience, my expectations of the situation changed, right? I was like, oh no, I have to make this a career now. And then when I started thinking about it, well, the next video has to be better. And the next video has to be even better than that. And the next video has to be even better than that. And so what happened was, for the next few months after I initially started my YouTube channel, I started, like, I was really, at the beginning, I was just making videos because I wanted to make them, right? But then eventually, at some point on video number 3 or 4, I started getting really tired of making the video. And why? It was because I wasn't getting the results I wanted, right? It wasn't like a hockey stick growth. It wasn't immediate. So at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so demotivated, right? I don't want to spend all this time now on this channel because I'm not getting the results I was looking for. But then when I actually started thinking about it more, I was like, no, I went on YouTube to share my story, to share something, right? And the views might be one metric to see how, you know, I'm doing, but actually another metric is, all I really wanted to do was to find people like me who cared about, you know, building weird, wacky, innovative solutions to, you know, improve your life. And guess what? I found that, right? Within a few months, I had people that wanted to join a community, right? So then I focused my time on growing that community instead, right? The YouTube channel will bring in people slowly, right? However it will do what it will do. I'm not here to become get a million subscribers, or, you know, get whatever, you know, ad revenue deal or whatever. I think that's not the point anymore. But what I really enjoyed was that creation process. And I don't want to lose that enjoyment just because I'm not getting the, you know, feedback that other people expect. Because actually very funny is when you start telling people, hey, I put videos on YouTube, they'll ask you, what's your view count, right? How many subscribers do you have? They'll ask you these kind of questions because that's their way of understanding the world, and their way of understanding what is success. But as a creative, the most beautiful thing is that you can define your own success. And the moment I define that for myself, success for me isn't to have a million views on a video. It'll be nice, certainly. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. But what is really important for me is if it even changes one life, if one person comes to me after and tells me, hey, this really helped me in some way, that's all I wanted, right? And that's one more than I would have reached if I was just doing it at home. So that's the way I think about it now, right? So it's not that I didn't have that experience. 100% I got stuck. I actually stopped making like videos for a while because I was like, I'm so demotivated, this doesn't make sense for me anymore. But then how I got back into it was I just realized I just need to push something out there, right? Because I realized I could still help someone, no matter the quality of it, right? Obviously the content needs to be good, but if the camera isn't perfect, if the mic isn't perfect, if all these things aren't perfect, is the content important? Did I have a meaningful conversation? Did I learn something? Did the person across from me learn something? Maybe the world might learn something as well.
And did you need to remind yourself this often?
Of course. So the most important thing I think that I've learned in my journey is that you tend to imagine yourself as a bit of a perfect person. And when you're not perfect, you're very hard on yourself, always. So what is a perfect person? Well, I'll just speak on my behalf. A perfect person is someone that never cares about the views, right? Never cares about anything else other than the creative passion I'm doing. Never cares about the optics, right? Never cares about how people might see it and what their misunderstandings or understandings of whatever I'm doing is. That's a perfect person, right? None of it is, it's like just water rolls off, right? No problem. But what you need to do in those situations is you remember yourself, hey, I'm human, right? I always will have desires to want to be liked, to want to belong, to want to, be successful, all these different things. But what's more important is who is your core authentic self and how does the actions that you do every day help you manifest that self more and more. It's okay for you to not feel like yourself is manifesting when making a website. Don't make a website, right? Because I think there's many other ways to get the result that you want, right? You've already got it without a website. You've had 15 orders without a website, right?
Yes,
so do you need it right now? No.
I love this.
Right.
I love this. This is really being very meaningful to me, and I think it's helping me shift my attention to it doesn't feel like a burden anymore. It feels like, why are you putting yourself so much pressure, unnecessary pressure? And there are other ways to approach it. And also, you're not the only one that feels like this, and you have an alternative. And just do it because you want to do it, not because you're playing the comparison game or, come back to why you started it, and without other expectations necessarily, and doesn't have to be quick, because I mean, at least show up, right? I haven't touched anything in weeks because of this, what I'm sharing now, but I'm sure that if I removed all this heaviness of it, I could just do a little bit per day and have fun with it, because I do enjoy it, but I was not doing it because I was thinking of just comparing myself or having heavy expectations, but not because of my original purpose. So I think it's very important to remove that weight. I think that it can become something very heavy, and that's why you may just don't come back to it.
It's very hard to if you get in your head like that.
It is, and then you feel terrible because you're like, oh, I started this, and now I invested money, I invested time, energy, and I'm not continuing. But I realized that it's a mental game. Like it was just in my head. So if I created this belief, I realize now that I can also challenge that belief and offer an alternative that feels nicer, that feels more like a friendly alternative, and that I'm running my own race. Like I can have my own rules and terms on like how I want to approach it, and not to give up on something that gives me joy.
Yeah, I love that. And I think one thing to also add to that, and very profound realization, I think it's very beautiful we've got in there, is everything that our mind does for us is for a reason, right? So I don't want this process to villainize this inner self that came in here and said, hey, you know what? Don't do these things, be scared, all those things. Because ultimately, it was there out of a place of love, right? Your inner self loves you, and that's why it's coming in to try to help you. What we're all doing is actually very similar to the conversation we had before about our parents too, right? Is that if something is reacting in a way that is actually not serving us, the way that we want to, right? As ultimately you want to have that done. You want to be able to share these mugs with more people, right? And many more creative projects in the future. This is something you want desperately, 100%.
Yeah, I would love it.
All right. So I think that's important. So what you need to do is to have a conversation with yourself, right? And say, hey, I get that you wanted to protect me. I get that you were doing this out of love for me. This is your way of loving yourself before. But you're telling yourself now, or perhaps we can go to even asking questions route, right? Which is what we did earlier a little bit. But, have a conversation with yourself. Be like, hey, you know what? What if there's another way that I could be happy, right? What if, there's another way to see this? What if I can control the end-to-end of my own creative endeavor, right? Would anything change? And the answer might be yes, right? And so let me touch on the last point you mentioned too, which was like, the belief that maybe I don't let the small things become big things, right? Small problems become big walls. And I think that happens to me a lot as well, by the way, right? It's not like it doesn't happen to me. It's very easy for me to get my own head and be like, oh, just because this thing isn't working out, maybe I should scrap the whole thing. Maybe because that doesn't work out, maybe, I'm not meant to do this, right? Many things can make you feel that way. What I would like to suggest in those moments and what's helped me, right, is in those moments, I choose to look at how it is working. So in the example that you've shared with me, I guarantee you, if you talk to anybody who has received your mugs, what do you think they would tell you about their experience with a mug? Just give me an example. How do you think they give you you ask them, hey, how do you like the mugs? What's your experience? What would they say?
They would say that they felt important because my touch when I give it is that it's very personalized, like it's very about them, like no one, like you cannot buy this, like it's something that it was really curated. So I would say that they felt important. They felt, I think they feel important, because if they were not important, then I wouldn't have taken the time and thought to make something that they would really appreciate, that it's exclusively made for them.
Yeah. And how did they respond when you gave them this gift?
They were like, whoa, like surprised, like shocked, like how did you make this? Like how did it happen?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually designed it, and it's my design, but then I found a supplier, all that, and I hope you like it. And they were really like appreciative. And I like that, because I want them to know that they're important for me. And it's not the mug, it's just, and also in these mugs are reminders of their own value. Like it's something that it's about their qualities. So I also want them to remember that they're amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And how does that make you feel, remembering even in this moment that recollection?
It makes me feel that I should continue on that. Like it makes me feel inspired to at least try to. Like, why am I making? It makes me feel also a bit guilty now. Like, why am I stopping if it's something that clearly makes me happy? But at the same time, it makes me inspired to. I did this for maximum 15 people. So now I'm like, I want to grow this. To give to others the opportunity to also feel like that, and also to others to do that for other people that I don't even know, but to give them the tool, like, because I've been finding that giving meaningful gifts is not as easy. So how can we make something that it's meaningful, right? So I want to help other people, not necessarily my friends, but other people I don't even know, to also give meaningful gifts to others and to make them feel appreciated, and important.
I love that. You're gonna make so many people happy around the world. I really believe that.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I realized that it's not even about that. It's because I just enjoy the process. Because even if it doesn't work, like I'm not even doing this for the money or for it to be a empire. I'm just doing it because I enjoy the process.
Yeah.
It's just that I think here my challenge is that I want it to be perfect. But then I remember like how Uber's design, for example, it was not very good in the beginning, and like I'm trying to think of like how there's this quote from the to each founder. I forgot his name, but he said like something. If you are not, or something, do you remember? Like if you're not ashamed of your first product.
You're doing it wrong or something?
Something like my point is that...
Was it Michael Siebel's quote or
no,
Justin Kahn?
Okay. So I forgot what it was, but
Yeah.
my point is that if you want to create something, you just need to start, even if it's not perfect. And instead of me looking to have like a perfect website that makes sense with exactly the catalogs that I want, with just, I realize that they're not going to do anything, because even those companies that are big, that have amazing things, if you go back, I don't think they started having all the answers or having the perfect designs. You just need to start and then you adjust. So I think that's my challenge. My mantra should be like, done is better than perfect. Because otherwise I'm not taking any action. And I think imperfect action is better than no action.
100%. So something very interesting here, and again, I'm so happy we had this conversation because I think there's so much here to talk about in that, I think all these mantras. These are not things you don't know, right? You have studied them, you've heard them your whole life, I'm certain. And so it's not that you don't know that you need to do it, but the question is why, right? So we're here to solve that. I'm going to help you with this because I think that's the most important part. Everyone talks about just do it.
Yes.
What the heck is just do it? How do I just do it, right?
How?
Right. So let's talk about that a bit. So something that you've identified already, which is really important, is, there's this challenge that you have, but the challenge is actually more internal, right? And what I've learned is that the more you try to fight it, actually, the more it's going to fight back. So we already started a bit on this already in that I told you, hey, have a conversation with yourself. Try to let your inner self know that, and actually it might be interesting if you want to even give it, a name or give it a shape. Well, let's do that first. Would you have a name or a shape for this?
Yeah, immediately it came to me when you said it.
Please.
I would call it resistance.
Resistance.
That's what it came to me. Yeah.
Okay, so you have an inner self called resistance, right? Okay, and so actually that's good. Let's use resistance as an example. So resistance typically, when we use the word itself, it means that if we're doing resistance training, right, with exercise and everything, we're doing it to build up our muscle, right? It's actually something that's good for us. Resistance is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so first let's take it away from, oh, this is so bad, this is so evil, why are you getting in the way of my goals, right? Because you can think that way, certainly. You can be very aggressive towards it.
You reject it, you don't want it.
So instead of that, let's instead work with it, right? So let's say, hey, resistance, you're here. This is what I want to accomplish, right? But obviously you're not helping me to get there, right? So what is the problem? Let's talk, right? Let's figure this out. So the first thing is having empathy for yourself. I think this is the first step towards self-love, in my opinion, because a lot of people think self-love is self-indulgence, which is not necessarily the case. Self-indulgence is the case of okay, my inner self says I don't want to do it, I guess I'm not doing it. We're not saying that, but we're saying how do we understand each other, right? How do you get your inner self to understand where you want to go, and how do you understand your inner self on why they are blocking you and what are the reasons for doing that? And we already started off with the conversation that, hey, maybe it's trying to protect you, right? Maybe it's just here to, say, if you really do scale up to, $1 billion and, all these things, it's scary and it's hard, we don't want that kind of pain, right? Comfortable life, right, is perhaps what it's trying to aim you towards. But what we can do with this conversation is, hey, and obviously it's not going to be overnight change. I don't want you to walk away thinking it's going to be a aha moment overnight. But what we're doing is sowing the seeds of gradual change, which then builds up to enormous change overall. So what we're doing here is that we're saying, okay, I love you, right? I love myself, right? For what is currently happening, right? I totally get that is something, and it's totally normal for us to have this reaction, right? It's something new that we're trying. It's something scary, definitely, right? But hey, it's something that I want to try. It's something I like the process, right? And I've identified that the process is already enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So here, you're gonna make a pact with yourself that says you're gonna keep working on the process. You're gonna keep focusing on the process that you enjoy, that you like, that's doing well for you, right? The process of talking to the customer, getting their designs, working with them on the designs, personalizing for them, seeing their happiness as they come back to you, right? That's only part of it. That's the cherry on top. Like you said, this process is what's important, but that's the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
So you're gonna have a pact that, hey, all these other things you think is scary? Fine, I get it. let's do the things that are not scary. And let's make that my mission, right? So your mission for the next maybe 3 months is to, get a few more orders, right? Fulfill maybe 5, 10, 15 orders if you want to, right? Maybe that can be your stretch goal, right? How you can do that can be many ways, right? It doesn't have to be creating a website. When people say just get started, I think they're being very non-empathetic to many real challenges that all of us face, right? So what I think a better statement is what is the next step that you can take to get started, right? So let me ask you, Maria, what is the next step you can take to get another customer? And let's put a website out of the equation. Imagine it's not a website. What would be the next step?
I would typically think what's coming, like which holiday and
Okay.
yeah, so
Cool.
and then that's the first step, and then I would think in this holiday, how can I create a meaningful mug that, so holiday would imply gifts.
Okay.
Therefore, people want to give gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I think of a design which is a part that excites me, that would be nice to have in a mug for someone to give as a gift during this holiday?
Yeah.
And then even if I don't have the customer, I would just do it for my own creativity, because I would like to see what I come up with.
Lovely. Okay.
And then I would just put it there. And then if the goal is to have one order, just the mock-up, I would put it in my Instagram or something like that.
Okay, lovely.
And then this is the first time I would do that, because I've never done this before. Like, as I said, all the other orders that happened were just organically, not online. It was
Sure.
just in the realm of reality here.
Sure,
So-
yeah. Not virtual.
Yeah, I've never promoted any marketing or anything. And then that would also imply that I'm putting myself up there, and the people will be like, oh, Maria is making mugs and all that. So I'm also a little bit of like, that's why I wanted to create first a website, so that then I can have like another Instagram account with the thing that, like, I was a little bit of, I didn't want to link it to me because I don't want to get the attention. But then I think this is all in my head, and like, why am I resisting for low-hanging fruits? Why do I need to go for the high-hanging fruits, website, Instagram, marketing, all that, to get one order?
Okay.
So, yeah.
I love that. Okay, this is a really good analysis. Actually, I think you're very perceptive, which is the best part about this, is that you have all the answers. You actually have all the answers. It's all within you, right? All we're doing is just unlocking little bits and pieces of you to help you to, get to the crux,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I think that's important. Okay, so let's talk about this. You've identified right now that actually the next step, right, is identifying the next holiday you want to do something on, right? Creating the mug for that holiday, which is, again, already the process you enjoy, designing something interesting, right? And then that's it. That's already next step, okay? So don't think beyond that. That's already the next step, you see? That's step one. Figure out your holiday, figure out the mug design, start working on that. That's already going to give you a lot of enjoyment. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You're already going to have fun, right?
That is true.
Yeah. So, period. Have fun. You're already going to enjoy that process. The moment you start thinking about the marketing, the TikTok, or Instagram, whatever else is going to be there, it's going to be not fun. So don't think about it yet, right?
Okay,
Not important.
I'll just stick with that.
Yes, stick with next mug, what holiday, I'm going to create it. Then, if you're adventurous, and this is the stretch, okay? The adventurous step is, then you have your next mug, right? Send a picture to the people that have ordered your mugs before. Not for them to buy, but be like, hey, guys, if you like my mugs, I would love it if you told one of your friends about it. Just one, right? You have 15 orders out there, right? 15 people have received your mugs. They all tell one more person. You have the chance of 15 more sales, especially if they like the mug, right? Maybe they want it for their friends. Maybe they'll ask for even more orders, right? That's step two, right? But again, step two is after step one. So you don't even think about step two yet. Step two might, I'm sure there might be more thoughts about that. Oh no, my name is attached, all those things. Like there might be some doubts, certainly, right?
But it's still a safe space.
It's a
like
safe
it's
space.
friends that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes. And I love that, right? So it's a safe space. It's people who already have loved the thing before, right? You're not doing any crazy move, right? So that's the next step. Okay, great. So we only focus on these two things, right? That's all you should focus on right now.
I like that. Now suddenly it doesn't feel as scary.
Yes.
And this, to be honest, I can do it very fast because I genuinely enjoy it. And then, and then that's it. Like I don't need to think, what about the website, the domain, everything I already paid for?
You'll see later.
I'll see later.
Yeah. For now, focus on your craft. Your craft is the most important thing to a creative, right? Focus on doing the thing that you love. Focus on making people happy with the things that you love, right?
Yeah.
And from there, things will flow, right? Next time we talk, I'm sure something beautiful will have happened.
I'll give it a try. And there's Valentine's Day coming, and there's Chinese New Year coming.
Right? There's so many things happening, right? So again, the next thing after that is don't think about new things, because a lot of people, they like to jump to the next step already. They have some success and they jump to, okay, now we do a website, now we do this PR campaign, now we do... No, don't. What you're going to do is, if this, and I know this will work, right? So we make this mug, we have this design, we have your customers already share more with other people. Then you make the next design, you get the next holiday, you make the next design, you get them to share again. Don't say one design. Hey, share with two people if you want to, right?
Yeah.
Make it fun, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Maria's coming out with another thing. Wow, it's exclusive now. Whoa. Now it becomes an exclusive drop. Maybe that's where it can go, right? You don't have to conform to the norm. I think that's the most beautiful thing about being a creative is that you can define your craft, you can define how you want to present, you can define how you want to sell it. No one is controlling you. And that's the most beautiful thing.
That's beautiful, and I love that concept of like having that freedom, and I don't know, suddenly it doesn't feel as scary because I think we started this conversation, or I don't know if it was before we actually started recording, but earlier I was sharing with you that I think of myself, when we were doing this drawing.
Yeah.
I told you that I like to take risk and to take bold steps, and that's part of my identity. Therefore, what you're sharing as an alternative speaks to me. It's like, it's a little bit like, you said that's the stretch, you said, but it's a stretch that will feed this muscle of taking risk and doing things that are bold, but that I know are good for me, and that it's a calculated risk. I don't feel it's like scary or crazy or anything. I feel it's a balance between taking risk, but also feeling comfortable with the risk. I really genuinely want to say that thank you for your time, because I think that the greatest gift that someone can give us is their time and attention, and I needed this. No one really, has. I have shared, and no one. I don't know how. I mean, sorry, it's just that it's a bit eye-opening this moment. I think like, I don't know why you're doing this, but I needed this. You're asking the right questions. You're making me feel more hope and more like it's like lighter. Like sometimes I think that we take life and our craft too seriously. And I think that we should approach life in a lighter way, and to take ourselves less seriously. And I needed this fresh air, and just like, it's okay, right? Just focus on next step and then the other step, and that's it, and that's already enough. And don't put necessary extra pressure on you. So thank you for creating this space, for sharing. For me, it means a lot coming from you, because you talk from experience. Like, I have seen what you're doing, and since many years ago, and I've always thought highly of you. So coming from you, it's like I have the credibility on you, and I'm like, if Conrad is saying this, it's because he knows what he's talking about. And thank you for this, Conrad. Really, I'm excited now.
It's my absolute pleasure, and thank you, Maria, for being so open and sharing everything here. And I really think it's very brave, very courageous, everything you're doing. It's very bold as well, and that's why I love talking to you. I love seeing your growth. I think there's so many things that we are learning from each other as well, and hopefully more people as well out there, because I'm sure many people can resonate. And like you said, I've been through it, you're going through it, someone else is about to go through it. So many different stages that people can learn from this. And I think maybe to explain this drawing that I made, because I think it's very interesting. Like, so what I like to share is that I want to help people with empathy. I really think that a lot of people out there are, just shouting out different advices that don't take into account of where someone is at right now. And I think that's very alarming as a society, because if we take away the empathy of realizing that, hey, someone is always going to be walking a path that you've already walked. And if you're just going to shout at them from the rooftop, you're not actually going to touch them and support them in a way that they need it. Everyone has a different, everyone needs different things at different stages in their lives. Yeah. And I think that's not something to look down on, but that's something to recognize and appreciate, because there's so much to learn even just going through the experience again, right? So what I want to share here is that, let's say everyone's goal is to reach the stars, right? That's a very common saying, reach the stars. But you need to build a foundation, right, of experiences, of knowledge, of support, whether it be from your community, right, whether it be from tools that you learn or knowledge that you're hearing. But it's a combination of all that, in my opinion, that actually gets you to where you want to go. You've learned all these sayings, right? You know all these sayings that people have kind of pushed, but they never really hit. And the reason is because no one really teaches you the tools to actually use at the stage that you're currently in. And on top of that, the community to support you on the way. And so what I imagine is that what we're doing here is we're building this foundation. We're building this, mound, this hill, whatever you want to call it, this mountain for you to stand on. So that as the mountain grows, as you pick up all these new knowledge, tools, community resources, whatever it is that hopefully we can help you with, the closer you are to reaching the stars that you want. And what that also means is that along the way, right, stars aren't just over there, by the way. There's stars here, there's stars here, there's stars here. Yeah. There's stars everywhere for you to pick up, right? So what's the beautiful thing here is that you've already identified what you love. That's already a great star that you picked up. That's beautiful. That's absolutely amazing. And you need to be proud of yourself for identifying what you love.
You're actually right. It wasn't
it's not easy.
It took time, and it took being open and able to say, like, this is giving me joy. Maybe I should explore it.
Yes, 100%. And that's so important. So what you're doing is you're building this mound for yourself, right? And, the beauty of it is that in the world, we're not alone, right? We can all do things together. And as we build this mound together, we can build it stronger, we can build it faster, we can build it however way you want. It doesn't even have to be a mound. It could be creative. It could be anything you want. But the most important thing is, catch the stars as you go, right? Do the next step. And if you look beyond that, it's scary, it's frightening, it's not doing you any favors. But the thing is, as you keep reaching the stars, you get to where you want to go. And it might be a whole different place than whatever we imagine. So figure it out yourself.
That's amazing. It's beautiful. Thank you for that. You're speaking to my soul right now, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one. Thank you. It's amazing. And I'm leaving this conversation not only inspired, but with actionable things that I know what to do.
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't know where to start. So this is exciting, and I'll keep you posted.
Please do. We'll have a follow-up with Maria. Maybe 3 months, 6 months? We'll figure it out.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. There's something there.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And I guess goodbye. Is there anything else you want to share to the audience before you go?
I would say yes to opportunities. I said yes to this conversation, to being here, and I received more than I would have expected to receive. So don't hesitate to just say yes, because a yes could really open doors for you. So that's what I would like to say.
Thank you so much, Maria. Really appreciate you being
Thank you,
here.
Conrad.
Bye, guys.
Bye.